Hello everyone, it's Tarun. Welcome to the third tutorial in Basic Python course. In this tutorial, we'll talk about functions, modules, and saving your programs. Okay, functions are pretty much built-in little programs that are built in Python. It allows you to do complex things without telling all the instructions to computer again and again. In the last tutorial, I told you about exponents. Okay, what are exponents? Let me repeat it to you. So 5 star 4. What does it do? It took 5 and raised to the power 4. So the answer is 625. I'm done with the help of an inbuilt function which is there in Python. Okay, first of all, how to write a function? We can write a function by writing the function name first, then parenthesis, and inside the parenthesis some parameters. Okay, how so? Function name, parameters. Okay, this is the syntax of any function, and it is just an example. It is not a function really. What are parameters? We'll talk about it later. So there is a function in Python which is inbuilt, which is a POW, power function. What does it do? It takes one value and raises to the power of another value given in it as parameters. So if I pass parameters 5, 4, what will it do? It will raise 5 to the power 4. Okay, so you can see it now. It has raised 5 to the power 4. Okay, so this was a simple example, and now let's talk about parameters. What are parameters? Parameters are the information which is needed by the function to perform the instructions given in it. Okay, so here in the function power, the information and instructions needed is 5 and 4. The number for which you want to raise the power, the number and the power. Okay, so these are the parameters for the function power. And what does it do? It takes 5 and raise it to the power 4. Okay, so let me give you one more example in the functions. In this tutorial we'll talk about only inbuilt functions. Okay, building a function we'll talk about later. And another example which I was talking about is ABS. What does it do? It takes the absolute value of any number that you pass through the function as a parameter, which is absolute value means modulus. If you know, if you pass -5, okay, what is the modulus of -5? 5. Okay, then it will show you 5. If you pass any positive number, so modulus of any positive number is the same number. Okay, there is something in Python called modules also. And what are modules? These are some extra things which are there inbuilt in the Python. What does it do? It helps us to take over more inbuilt functions with which we can perform actions on Python. Okay, so how can we use the functions which are there in the modules? To use a function which is there in a module, we need to first import the module and then use the function. Okay, so there is a function called floor. What does it do? If I have written floor 18.7, okay, it is showing error now. And what does the function floor do? It took 18.7 and rounded off to 18. But why it is showing error if it is inbuilt in Python? It is showing error because it is in a module which I have not imported yet. Okay, there is a module in Python named maths. To import a module, type import space the module name. Okay, import math. It has imported the math module in the Python IDLE now. So if I use the function floor, okay, now it is again showing error because the floor is not defined. To use a function after declaring the after declaring or importing the module, use module name dot function. Okay, see how the floor function worked and how you can import a module. It's being. Let me show you one more example which is there in math module, okay, which is square root. If you want to perform square root of any number, import the math function first. Type math dot the square root function is represented by sqrt, okay, and parenthesis and the number which you want to square root. So let's say 16. Okay, the square root of 16 is 4. I'm going to show you one very important and very good trick which you can use with modules and functions to save your time while programming. Okay, you can do one thing: variable equal to module dot function name. Okay, what does it do? Where, like, say if you type x equal to math dot sqrt, okay, if you want to perform square root of any number, you earlier need to type math dot square sqrt and then type the number in it. But now what you can do, type x and parenthesis, type the number for which you want to perform the square root. It will perform the square root for you. So it is simple because if you want to use square root function in your program many times, then you don't have to type this thing again and again. You can declare it to one variable in the earlier stages of your program, and then you can use it afterwards like this. Okay, keep in mind one thing, that whenever you declare any module dot function to a variable, don't use parenthesis. Okay, so you can do this with a floor function also. Okay, so how you can do similar function, y is equal to math dot floor and then phi is equal to 18.7. Okay, this was all about modules and functions in. Okay, so I want you guys to practice about it as much as you can, play around with the modules and functions. Okay, go to the links which I have provided and find out which are the modules which are there in Python. And now let's move forward to the section where I will talk and tell you about how to save your programs. Now we'll talk about how to create programs regularly so that you can save them and use them whenever you like. Okay, in the ideally where we are working right now, if we create a program, it will not be stored forever. Okay, it will be removed after we close the ideally. So what is the use of creating Python if we can't save any program and use it later? Okay, so there is one thing which we can do in Python to create programs, which I am going to show you now. Okay. So what we can do, instead of programming in this interface of ideally, okay, go to file, new window. A new window will pop up. Okay, and in this new window you can write your codes, save them as a program and execute them and run them as scripts. All tools and inbuilt functions which are there in Python. So we were talking about how to save a program. Okay, we need to open first file and then new window, and we'll program in the new window opened. Okay, in the new window we can type our code like this, any code which we want to perform. Hello world. And then if we want to run the program, execute it, then we need to first save it and then run it. Okay, because if we don't save it, it will not run. Okay, so what we can do, go to file, save. It will ask you for a directory, save it in the directory which you want. Okay. Give it any name according to you. And the most important thing in saving a Python file, use the file name and follow it with a extension .py. Okay, this is very important because if you don't use the extension .py, then it will not be saved as a Python file. Okay, so remember that you use .py extension always when you save a Python file. Click save. Your file will be saved at the location where you have stored it. Then go to run and run module. Okay, so you can see that when I run the program, it will print out hello world. So this was one example to do programming. You run it by going to run and then clicking run module, but you can also run it by directly pressing F5. So let me show you one more interactive example with this thing. Okay, so take a variable and okay, if you run it directly, then it shows that we need to first save the program, then we can only run it. Okay, so click OK to save. It is asking enter name. If I enter any name, okay. There was some error there earlier. Okay, some error was there. So we have created a program. Go to run module. Okay. It is showing enter name. Enter any name. Okay. See, it is showing you the output which I have created in the Python program. Okay, so we have, I have told you that our program will look like this after we have saved. To run this, double click it. It will open command line window type. Okay, and here you can enter the name and then you can click enter. Okay, but when you click entered, it just disappeared. To get rid of this problem, we can do one thing with our program. Okay, go to our program and then in the program type a new line in which type input and use with double quotes and press enter. What will this do? It will hold the program until you give the input enter. Okay, so you can use raw input also here, but I am going to use input only. So go to file, save, and double click the icon, enter the string on the name, and see, until you press enter it will not close. Okay, when you press enter, okay, it will disappear. So it was very important thing in the program. You need to use it every time whenever you create. Okay, so that was it from this tutorial. Okay, I'm going to meet you in the next tutorial where we'll talk about strings and more things. Okay, and I have attached a reference book with these tutorials, so you can refer that, and if you have any problems you can go to the website newlessons.com, and I have provided the reference links also. So okay, I'll see you in the next tutorial.